Kelly Ripa stood at the center of the familiar set, the place where mornings had bloomed into laughter for decades. The coffee mugs were lined up just right, the cue cards neatly stacked, the city skyline glowing behind her like it always had. Everything looked the same, and yet nothing did. "Good morning," she began, her voice steady for exactly 3 words. The audience erupted into applause, the kind that wasn't just loud but layered. Gratitude stacked on years of shared mornings, of jokes that landed and stories that lingered. Kelly smiled, that unmistakable smile that had greeted millions before school, before work, before life began each day. But today it trembled. She took a breath, then another. "I thought I'd be fine," she said, letting out a small laugh that cracked at the edges. "I really did." The camera panned across the studio, crew members blinking fast, producers frozen mid-motion, co-hosts sitting quietly, giving her the space she deserved. The silence that followed wasn't empty, it was full of memory. Kelly looked out at the audience, and then, as if seeing far beyond them, she looked into the past. She spoke of mornings when her kids were little, when she'd rush from the show to school pickups, still wearing studio makeup. She spoke of the early days, of nerves and notes scribbled on napkins, of learning how to be herself on live television, unfiltered, honest, human. "This place," she said softly, "raised me." The words hung in the air. Fans watching from home felt it instantly. Social media lit up in real time. Broken hearts, crying emojis, messages of thanks pouring in faster than they could be read. Living rooms across the country went quiet. People who had grown up with Kelly, who had watched her through milestones and Mondays alike, leaned closer to their screens. Kelly reached for a tissue, then paused, then laughed again, shaking her head. "See, this is why I didn't want tissues out here," she joked, wiping her eyes as tears finally spilled over. The audience laughed through their own tears, grateful for the familiar humor even in goodbye. She turned toward her co-hosts, her voice thick with emotion. "You became my family, on camera and off. We've shared joy, loss, ridiculous outfits, and way too much information before 9 a.m. A ripple of laughter, a sniffle, another tear. The director counted down in her earpiece, but no one rushed her. This was her moment. Kelly straightened her shoulders, grounding herself. Change is scary, but it's also necessary. And while this chapter is ending, the story isn't. Her eyes glistened as she looked directly into the camera, into millions of homes, kitchens, and bedrooms. "Thank you for letting me be part of your mornings. Thank you for trusting me, for growing with me." The applause rose again, louder this time, unstoppable. Some stood, some cried openly. The studio felt like a heartbeat, strong, emotional, alive. As the music swelled, Kelly took one last look around the set. She touched the desk lightly, as if to memorize its shape. Then she waved, not the polished wave of television, but the small, genuine wave of someone saying goodbye to something that mattered deeply. The screen faded to commercial, but the feeling didn't fade. Fans sat stunned, hearts heavy yet full, because while goodbyes hurt, they also remind us of what was real. And Kelly Ripa, tears, laughter, and all, had always been exactly that.